General Hospital. The quiet streets of Harbor Point had seen their share of scandals, but nothing prepared the town for the storm that was about to unfold. For weeks, rumors had circulated about a long-buried family secret. Most people dismissed the whispers as gossip. Others believed there was some truth hiding beneath the surface. No one imagined that a single document would send shockwaves through several families at once. Claire Spencer had spent years protecting the people she loved. She believed that some secrets were better left untouched, especially when revealing them could destroy relationships and reopen old wounds. But lately, strange events had begun piling up around her. Anonymous messages arrived at her door. Unfamiliar cars lingered outside her house. Questions she couldn't answer followed her wherever she went. At first, Claire tried to ignore it. Then everything changed. A private investigator named Colton Reed arrived in town with one mission: uncover the truth behind a decades-old mystery that someone had worked very hard to keep hidden. Colton wasn't interested in rumors. He wanted proof, and he believed that proof was somewhere inside Claire's home. While Claire struggled to understand why she had suddenly become the center of attention, another crisis erupted elsewhere. Young Sophie Parker suffered a serious accident during a school event. The injury wasn't life-threatening, but it shook everyone around her. Friends, family members, and neighbors rushed to support her recovery. What should have been a moment that united people instead became the catalyst for something much larger. Because during the confusion surrounding Sophie's accident, a piece of information surfaced that nobody expected: a medical file. One that raised alarming questions. Questions about identity, questions about family, questions that certain people desperately hoped would never be asked. Among those most affected was Ethan Cross. For years, Ethan believed he understood where he came from. He knew his family history. He knew his place in the world. Or at least, he thought he did. When fragments of the medical report began circulating among a small group of people, Ethan noticed inconsistencies that made no sense. Names didn't match, dates didn't align, records appeared altered. At first, he convinced himself there had to be an explanation: a clerical mistake, a paperwork error, anything but the truth. Yet the deeper he looked, the more troubling the situation became. Meanwhile, Colton's investigation intensified. He spoke with former hospital employees. He reviewed archived documents. He tracked down individuals connected to events from years earlier. Every lead seemed to point back to the same place: Claire's house. The pressure mounted. Friends began asking questions. Family members demanded answers. Even people who had trusted Claire for years started wondering whether she knew more than she admitted. One evening, Colton appeared at her door, carrying a folder thick with evidence. The conversation that followed would change everything. Claire denied any involvement. She insisted she had never manipulated records. She claimed she was protecting someone, not deceiving them. But Colton wasn't convinced. The evidence suggested that somebody had altered information long ago, creating a chain reaction that continued affecting lives years later. As tensions rose, Ethan launched an investigation of his own. Determined to uncover the truth, he revisited memories from his childhood. He searched through old photographs. He contacted relatives he hadn't spoken to in years. Piece by piece, a different picture emerged, one that challenged everything he believed. The closer Ethan got to the truth, the more resistance he encountered. Unexpected allies turned distant. Trusted friends became evasive. Simple questions generated complicated answers. It was as if an invisible force was trying to stop him. But Ethan refused to back down. He had already lost too much time. He needed answers. Across town, Sophie's recovery progressed steadily, yet her accident continued influencing events in surprising ways. Had she not been injured, the medical records might never have been reviewed. Had the records remained hidden, the discrepancies might never have been discovered. And had those discrepancies remained buried, Ethan's search for answers would never have begun. What started as an unfortunate accident had evolved into the key that unlocked a much larger mystery. As weeks passed, Harbor Point became divided. Some residents supported Claire. Others sided with Colton. Many simply wanted the truth. Community gatherings became tense. Private conversations became public debates. Long-standing friendships faced unexpected strain. Everyone seemed to have an opinion. Very few had facts. Then came the discovery that nobody anticipated. Inside an old storage box, hidden among years of personal belongings, was a collection of documents that changed the entire narrative. Letters, photographs, medical forms, personal notes. Individually, they meant little. Together, they revealed a story spanning decades. The documents suggested that a critical decision had been made years earlier under extraordinary circumstances. A decision intended to protect a vulnerable child. A decision made out of fear. A decision whose consequences nobody fully understood. Claire finally admitted she knew part of the story, but even she hadn't known the complete truth. The revelation stunned everyone, including Ethan, especially Ethan. For the first time, he realized that several people involved had genuinely believed they were doing the right thing. Mistakes had been made, information had been hidden, lives had been affected. Yet the situation wasn't as simple as villains and heroes. It was a tragedy built on good intentions and terrible consequences. Colton continued pursuing every remaining lead. He wanted certainty. No assumptions, no speculation, just facts. As the final pieces fell into place, Ethan faced a choice. He could focus on anger, or he could focus on healing. Neither path would be easy. The truth had altered his understanding of the past, but it didn't have to define his future. In a powerful gathering involving family members, friends, and several people connected to the mystery, long-hidden feelings finally surfaced. Apologies were offered, regrets were shared, painful memories were confronted. Not every wound healed instantly, not every relationship recovered overnight, but for the first time in years, honesty replaced secrecy, and honesty created the possibility of moving forward. Claire accepted responsibility for the things she should have revealed sooner. Colton acknowledged that sometimes investigations uncover more complexity than expected. And Ethan recognized that discovering the truth was only the beginning of a much larger journey. As Harbor Point slowly returned to normal, residents reflected on everything that had happened. The mystery exposed secrets. The secrets exposed fears, and the fears exposed how deeply people cared about one another. What began as suspicion ended as understanding. What began as conflict ended as reflection. And what began as a search for answers became a story about family, forgiveness, and the courage to face the past. Because sometimes the truth doesn't destroy lives, sometimes it gives people the chance to rebuild them. As new chapters begin and old questions finally receive answers, one thing remains certain. In Harbor Point, the next surprise is always just around the corner, and no secret stays hidden forever.